Whether new shooter, longtime gun owner, or even police officer or soldier, your handgun needs a Crimson Trace laser sight or light. Get the confidence and reliability you need to protect family, home, and country. Crimson Trace.
Today on Tom Gresham's Gun Talk. Tom's broadcasting from the Ruger booth at the IWA Outdoor Classic Show in Nuremberg, Germany.
All righty, stand by. We are going to be having some fun today. Let me tell you what. You thought the SHOT Show was big. You thought the SHOT Show was exotic. Not even close. We are at the IWA Show, IWA. I have no idea what that stands for, but we ought to call it IWA because we're in Nuremberg, Germany, the home of the 4 food groups. We have beer, we have sausage, we have bread, and we have potatoes. Those are the 4 food groups around here, as we have discovered. We're having a great time. We're sitting in the Ruger booth in the IWA Show, and I don't know if this place is as big as SHOT, but it sure feels like it by the time you walk around. Joining me right now is the president of Ruger, Chris Killoy. Hey, Chris.
Hey, Tom. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for letting us hang out in your booth, man.
Hey, we're glad to have you.
So, IWA Show, none of us knows what it stands for, I don't think. But, you know, how do you explain IWA to someone who's not been here?
Well, if you've been to the NRA show or the SHOT Show, it's a European equivalent. And in our case at Ruger, we have meetings scheduled in conference rooms with our distributors from all over the world. Mm-hmm. But then out on the show floor, we have all our product exhibited. And frankly, a lot of the people that come by to see it are from countries where they may or may not even be able to actually own it.
To own it, exactly, because you have products here that people can't own in some countries in Europe. Although, and we'll talk about this later on, it's probably surprising to a lot of Americans that shooting and hunting is big in Europe.
It's very big. I mean, you see the hunting traditions in Europe are amazing and go back centuries. And you look at some of the products that we don't even think about.
Oh, yeah.
Really
gorgeous.
Cool stuff.
Really neat stuff. Well, speaking of neat stuff, I'm looking at your lineup here. I haven't even showed you, when we get off here, I got to show you a video we did. Took the Ruger American pistol out. It was one of the most interesting experiences. Heard all about it and handled it, hadn't shot it yet. So went out to the range, and while the video crew was all getting set up, I said, all right, guys, you guys do that. I'm going to go down range. Everybody got your eyes and ears on. I need to shoot this gun a few times because I don't want my first shot to be a shot on camera, right? So it's the weirdest thing. I took it, loaded it up, 9mm, first shot, and I just stopped and went. I literally out loud, I went, oh, wow. It's like, and then you shoot it one more time, you go, wow, that's really something.
That is fun to shoot.
I mean, it's so soft. My first thought was, it's very soft shooting. And it's like, yeah, I know everybody says these things, right? What in the world did you guys do to this pistol to make it shoot so well?
Well, I mean, the engineering team that worked on the pistol did a great job. The recoil reducing cam that really is part of that solution. Handling the recoil, handling the energy. Mm-hmm. The other part is the ergonomics on the grip. Just making sure you got comfortable hand placement. You've got 3 interchangeable grip back straps that help fit different hand sizes, and that's a big factor. And then you got a low center line, bore center line that keeps that energy low in your hand and much more manageable. So altogether, it really combines for a great package.
It is instantly there. I will tell you, after we shot a lot of cool video, and it's up on the web now. You go to our YouTube channel, you can see all the super slow motion we shot there. After we're all done, we've got the crew there. We've got 3 camera operators and a field producer and me. And basically, I just sat there and loaded magazines, and then finally I said, all right, guys, it's kind of like when I invite you over for a beer. After the first one, you're on your own. So they're loading magazines, and I'm glad I brought 1,000 rounds with me because they just lined up, and each crew member, each camera person went through and shot this pistol. Everybody fell in love with it.
Cool.
So, I mean, it is an impressive pistol.
Yeah, it really is. It's the first 2 models that we introduced, of course, the full-size 9 and full-size 45. There are more models coming.
Right.
Obviously, the 40 will be there. We've got a lineup of compacts in the works.
Of course.
And they'll be following in the next couple of months. So great lineup coming.
Any thoughts down the line? I'm thinking a competition model, as soft as it shoots, as quick as you can get repeat shots on. It'd make a great competition gun.
We have a couple of our guys looking at that right now out at our factory in Prescott, looking at a couple options there that we might be able to trick that out a little bit.
The only comment I heard, people say, well, it has a long reset. And I've shot it. So, yeah, it does. It's got a long trigger reset. It's not bad. It's just you have to get used to it. But as a carry gun, I like that a lot.
Right. And this gun, the Pro models that we introduced, These guns don't have a manual safety on it. They have they really are a sweet shooting gun, and we think it's going to do real well for us.
I think so. It's a heck of a gun. It's a great. I know what the price of this thing is. It's but it's right in there.
It's right in the sweet spot. And when we launched the gun, our team did a great job. We actually had guns out at retailers before we announced it to consumers. So we had 5,000 of what we call our retail packs that had 3 9s and a 45. We had those out at different retailers.
And you could even go to a range and shoot. You get 5 rounds free to shoot the gun. To try it out.
Right. We had the gun seated on about 200 plus ranges throughout the country, and so I was shocked that it stayed quiet for a couple of weeks prior to launch. But everybody did a pretty good job with it.
Didn't leak.
We had a good time with it.
All right. The other thing I keep hearing people talk about, they say, and it's like they'll send me an email that says, "You won't believe it, I found a precision rifle." It's like it's a unicorn, right?
I hear, and we get it here too as well. In at the show here in Europe, a lot of our distributors are looking for more precision rifles as they are in the States, and we're making them every day.
Right.
We make the American pistol in our plant in Prescott, Arizona. The precision rifle is made in Newport, New Hampshire. So we've got 3 plants. The other one is in Mayodan, North Carolina. And the guys and gals up in Newport are working every day on a precision. We're trying to get production up. And this is one where, we know that we want to make sure we're turning out great quality products.
That's what it is. It's a great, super accurate precision rifle at an unbelievably good price.
Right. And, so we can't compromise quality in the interest of trying to boost that production. So we are looking to grow it. And one of the challenges here in Europe, we have, when you export firearms, there's firearms licensing involved with the U.S. State Department. So there's always a lag time, and there's always frustration on the part of consumers who come through this show where we'll announce something, but, the licenses are still waiting for State Department approval before we even ship it to them. So.
Okay. All right, so you got the American pistol, you got the precision rifle, and I know you got something else you want to talk about here.
Yeah, the other one that's kind of neat, and it's not a needle mover from a volume standpoint yet or a business standpoint, but we were getting the suppressor business.
Yes. I was actually going to ask you, because we're in Europe where suppressors are much more accepted than they are in the U.S., although they're getting super popular in the U.S. What prompted Ruger to get into suppressors?
Well, we saw the success that a lot of the other companies out there were having. We decided to get in it ourselves, and a lot of our guys, our engineering team, and a lot of folks at all our factories really enjoy shooting suppressed firearms.
And once you start with suppressors, you're spoiled.
Exactly, and so we had some very solid in-house engineering talent. We designed it in-house. Our team up in Newport, New Hampshire, that's where we build it. Mm-hmm. So we did everything in-house. We shipped initial quantities to distributors, and those are in the process of being licensed now to be shipped out to the retailers because, of course, with Class 3 items in the U.S., we do have that lag time while people are waiting for the paperwork to get submitted and come back so they can pick up their product.
Is that something you can sell in Europe also?
It is, although interestingly enough, in some of the European countries, silencers are so common that they're pretty low price points, and so a lot of them look at silencers as just utility tools to protect hearing and things like that. And so you get these countries with very restrictive gun laws, and yet think nothing of the suppressors or silencers.
Yeah,
so.
Well, it's like sticking a muffler on your Briggs and Stratton engine on your lawnmower.
Exactly. Hopefully, maybe we can get to that someday in the U.S. And that was one of the things that we wanted to do. Is kind of we think we can help mainstream the silencer market, where we want to work with the folks that in the silencer side of the industry to help them on their legislative initiatives. And
we got the Hearing Protection Act in Congress. We're working on that. See if we can reduce the paperwork restrictions here and the cost, perhaps.
Right.
That would be terrific
because it really does make shooting a lot more fun, a lot safer from the not losing your hearing.
I tell you take one of your 22 pistols, put a suppressor on it, put it in the hands of a beginner shooting. It's easy.
Right. A lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun. It's very easy. Well, you got a lot of cool stuff. Tell you what, Chris, I'm going to try to get you. I know you're busy. I'm going to try to drag you back into the booth here a little bit later on, and we'll talk a little bit more about what you guys have been up to. I mean, you've got, obviously, I'm looking out at the booth here. You got the revolvers. The scout rifle. People are just all over the scout rifle here.
They are.
Very interesting.
Again, we forget, even though it's not brand new for us, it's still very, very hot product, especially in markets that have been waiting for it.
Right.
So a lot of cool things in here, things like the GP100 10-shot 22. I mean,
crazy stuff.
I had somebody ask me, what's that for? I said, it's to have fun with.
There it is. That's the answer. It's to have fun with. Check it out, Ruger.com, obviously. And if you want the accessories, shop Ruger.com. Takes care of that also. Chris, thank you so much. We're going to take a quick break here. We're in the Ruger booth at the IWA Show in Nuremberg, Germany. We're having a ball. Wish you were here.
When it's all on the line, you can count on Trijicon Optics. Earning its reputation in combat and on hunts in all corners of the world, Trijicon comes through. The new AccuPower rifle scopes feature battery-powered illuminated reticles, variable power, adjustable brightness, plus they're waterproof. The years of waiting, the dollars spent, your hunt of a lifetime comes down to a single moment. Get Trijicon quality. Trijicon.com. Trijicon.com.
Are you looking for a place to shoot? The National Shooting Sports Foundation has a great website called wheretoshoot.org. It's the largest database of shooting ranges on the internet. It's also a great resource for shooters where you can find video tips, printable targets, and a lot more. Find it online at wheretoshoot.org. And while you're there, download their free iPhone app. That's wheretoshoot.org.
What makes a legacy? Is it quality? Craftsmanship? Maybe it's the idea that every American deserves their right to security and peace of mind on and off the battlefield. What makes a legacy? Here at Colt, we're making it every day. Colt, built one at a time, proven every round.
It's time for the Brownells Trivia Question. Brownells, serious about firearms since 1939. Are you a gun know-it-all? Well, you may have a chance to win the Brownells GUNTALK FN SCAR 17S Dream Gun and a trip to the NRA show in Louisville, Kentucky, May 19th through the 22nd. Here we go. Which now famous gun designer started off making curtain rods and knives and did not design or make any sort of firearm until he was 52 years old? Eliphalet Remington, Gaston Glock, or Mikhail Kalashnikov? To answer and have a chance to win, go to brownells.com/guntalk. That's brownells.com/guntalk. When it comes to firearms, Brownells has more, knows more, and does more, and guarantees it all forever. Brownells is serious about firearms.
All right, we're back with you here at the IWA Show. We are in Nuremberg, Germany. This thing is huge. I mean, you would be amazed if you were here. In fact, you should be here. We're having a ball. You know, this is only my second year at the IWA Show. First year, I kind of walked around just bewildered. This year, I'm walking around only slightly less bewildered, but we brought in somebody to help us sort this out, somebody who's been here a lot. Austin Sheridan from Austin Sheridan, USA. Austin, thank you for joining us here.
Thank you, Tom.
All right, so when you start to explain the IWA Show to people who've not been there before, how do you describe it?
The IWA Show is 43 years doing business in the shooting, hunting, outdoor trade.
43 years?
43 years.
Holy cow. So how is this market, European market for guns and shooting, different? Because I will tell you, I was probably as guilty as anybody. I thought, well, people in Europe don't really own guns. They don't really hunt. We've heard that so much in the U.S. And I come over here and go, boy, was I wrong.
Well, there's more restrictions and regulations by country and by the European community. So Belgium really regulates all the ownership of weapons through their European community states. So Germany is different than Spain, and Spain's different than Portugal, and Portugal is different than the UK. But there is a very viable tradition of hunting. It goes back 3,000 to 4,000 years. So all of the developments of America and the U.S. really come from Europe.
We're the newcomers.
Well, we're transplanted.
That's true.
So IWA is the SHOT Show of Europe.
Right.
And it has 9 exhibit halls.
Big halls.
And they'll run 1,400 exhibits.
Wow.
And they have between 7 and 9 million registered hunters.
Holy cow.
So compared to 45 to 47 or 48 million in the U.S.,
right,
its size is smaller.
Sure.
But the demographics of the populations are the same. The income is a little bit higher.
Right.
And it's a white-collar hunting class.
It is, and partly because there are a lot of restrictions. It costs more to get your licenses in many countries. There's a process to go through to get the license. There's even regulations on where you can store your firearms.
All of that is correct, and it's usually clubs and groups. Mm-hmm. And each country, there is a consistency about gun ownership, gun storage, gun responsibility. Mm-hmm. I would say that you spend, the average hunter, he'll spend between 25,000 and 30,000 euro a year to participate in this sport.
Wow.
He can hunt much longer. The seasons can be 10 to 12 months in some countries.
I did not know that.
It's wide open. They'll also hunt at night.
Right.
And
so they have different optics and different...
Yeah, they have a completely different culture of hunting, which would change short actions, long actions, optics, night visions.
Right.
And that's recent. The landowners really are the agricultural, the farmers. Mm-hmm. And they lease the land. And the groups or the clubs or the federations can borrow the land for that season.
Okay.
They pay a fee.
Right.
And part of the fee would be amortized through the number of members in the club or the hunting group.
Okay.
And that's expensive. They monitor any damage for the animals. The species primarily will be roe deer, wild boar.
Right.
You have moose in the Scandinavian.
Right.
And chamois in Italy. But the species are quite scaled down.
Sure.
The bounty is not like the United States, but the land and the ownership and the qualifications to use the land is a respect of not only the land but the forest and the creatures. The education to get a license is usually a year and could be 2 years.
Wow.
And it has several stages of processes to qualify. There is an increase in female hunting participation there. And you will find that the culture of hunting is sometimes driven. They'll do dogs.
Oh, okay.
And
I've seen that in the videos.
Yes.
Hunting hogs and running dogs.
And hunting is very regulated and safety orientated, and firearms instructions. You actually qualify in the Scandinavian countries, for example, where you go out to the range and they'll use moving targets.
Right.
And you have to prove yourself that day to qualify that you will go out into the field with your fellow hunters.
That you'll be safe and you will be competent.
And when you're in that space, you know where the other hunter is.
Ah, right. Okay.
And it's a camaraderie that is very similar to the United States.
Well, as I look around here, there are some of the companies exhibiting. We see them at SHOT Show, and they are like smaller companies. There you think, oh, you come over here and you realize, oh, no, those are huge companies. They just don't have a big presence in the U.S. I'm thinking if some of these layouts, these are actually very big companies in Europe.
Well, there's definitely conglomerates. Beretta is the oldest and the biggest. And then you're going to have the Michael Luca group, which is the SIG and the Mauser, Sauer and Blauser.
Right.
And
huge company,
Rigby.
Huge outfit.
And they have a footprint in both locations. They're probably, if you're going to look at the finances, that they're the most successful in the United States, and they're the most successful in the Europe. And I would say that, yes, it's not always easy for the international guys who have a footprint in these waters, foreign waters. Then they come over to the United States and they have difficulties and complications.
Well, one of the things you do is you help U.S. companies over here, don't you?
Our mission is to make doing business with American factories easy and simple.
Okay.
There's a process with ITAR, and there's licensing and permits and TSA and customs and Department of State, Department of Defense. We regulate all of that, keep that kind of bureaucracy in-house, package it with the product, deliver it, proof it, as it's required,
Right.
and then put it on the shelf. And we try and do that within a 60-day window.
Wow. Okay.
And we will forecast a year in advance, do all the permits, do all the licensing, do all the scheduling, and then the production by factory, by company.
You facilitate it and basically take the mystery out of it for people.
Yes.
You make it happen.
Yes.
And it works both ways, does it not?
It does. And I also do the same on the import side.
Right.
We have partners that we work with to help them make it easy to access the American markets, and through the NSSF, the NRA, and the NASGW, we've launched several brands.
Because there are some really cool products here that we don't see over in the U.S. I'm walking around and thinking, man, I'd love to see this there. And sometimes they just don't come over.
It's a big investment,
Yeah.
and it requires not only the permits and the licensing, but the market, the evaluations.
Right.
If I was to take our brands and I take the catalog that you sell in North America,
Right.
and I bring it to Europe, the percentage that I sell in Europe is filtered. So it might be 60%, it might be 50%, because the culture and the hunting
Sure. Not
and the
everything
style
translates.
is not going to accept it.
Yes.
So some things that are manufactured in Europe for this culture of hunting will not fit either price-wise or category-wise or
just the style.
feature-wise.
Sometimes this is style,
Yes.
the style, stock, style,
Yes.
different things. There's a European style, there's an American style.
Yeah, there's a fashion, and there's a
Absolutely.
discipline, and each discipline is unique
Right.
and different.
Right.
And you learn over the years. It's
Let me ask you a question. Somebody's listening to this and say, okay, well, that sounds interesting. We're in the firearms business. We'd like to get involved in Europe. How do they contact you? Is there a
well, we have a
website or-
website, and we have 12 brands. And
What's your website?
AustinSheridanUSA.com.
It's pretty easy. AustinSheridanUSA.com. Austin, I'll tell you what, I thank you so much for being here with us today. Kind of at least starting the education for us who are trying to figure out this European market. It's impressive. The IWA Show is very impressive for those of us who've never been here before.
Thank you.
All right,
Appreciate
thank you so
the time.
much. All right, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more Gun Talk in just a minute.
Now, from on location at the IWA Outdoor Classic Show, here's Tom with more Gun Talk.
All right, we're back with you here at IWA Show in Nuremberg, Germany, having a bunch of fun. We're in the Ruger booth. People are, man, they're packed in here, having a good time, having a lot of fun. I mean, it's the same, but it's different. I'm joined by Ryan Gresham from Gun Talk Media, of course, the television shows. You've seen him there, all the YouTube stuff. Ryan, we've been walking around the show here. I guess that's how you explain it. It's the same, but it's different.
Yeah, I mean, it's the SHOT Show of Europe is what everybody says, right?
Right.
But it's not just Europe. I think it's the whole world comes here.
That's a good point.
It's predominantly Europe, but you see countries, I mean, I think I saw a glove manufacturer from Pakistan.
Of course.
Tactical gloves from Pakistan.
Why not? There's a huge tactical area here,
Yep.
which surprised me. I didn't think I was going to see that here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And a lot of different things that you walk by and you go, well, first of all, since we're language challenged, we can't really decipher some of the things.
Right.
Right? So we walk by and go, that looks cool. I wonder what that is. I don't know. I can't read the sign.
Right. Exactly. And they've got everything from kind of outdoor motif furnishings of tables and vases and made out of bone or whatever crazy stuff. I saw a wild booth with a bunch of umbrellas with
Yes.
sculpted handles,
Silver
and,
handles on the tops and everything.
Really wild stuff. We saw an interesting drone.
Oh,
an interesting use of a drone.
That was crazy. We're
Wow.
talking about like an octocopter drone helicopter thingy, but what did it have hanging underneath it?
So this is in the law enforcement section.
Yes.
It had a can of OC, like pepper spray.
Right. So you could fly over a crowd and hose them.
Yeah. Which, of course, if used for good purposes, not bad purposes.
If you're in the crowd, that's not good.
Yeah.
But if you're the police officer who doesn't have to go into the
you
crowd.
don't have to go in there with just a shield and a baton or
right.
some ridiculousness.
Makes a lot of sense.
That's pretty interesting as far as, we're going to settle everybody down in this riot.
Yeah. And I'm thinking maybe we're going to do a modification of that. That's how I'm going to fertilize my lawn.
That probably is being done now.
It probably is. Exactly right. So, that was pretty neat. We do see things here that are a little bit different. Again, European style, very high end. What was we heard somebody talk about, and people are going to have to forgive us if we get this wrong, but I think it was Norway where they were only allowed to buy 4 guns in a lifetime?
That was the way it was explained to us. Buy 4 guns in a lifetime. So even if you bought one and then sold it to somebody else, that one already counts against your one that you've bought.
Right. So now, you're still can only buy 4 guns. Now you're down to 3, but you bought 4. So that's the way it goes.
So you pick out some really nice guns when you can only buy 4.
That's what happens is we have a lot of high-end things. The accessories are high-end. The scope mounts are high-end. Even down to sling swivels and studs and all of that. You don't see a lot of cheap junk.
No. Well, and also you have certain products, obviously, that are not as restricted. So, like silencers.
Yeah.
In a lot of countries, they're not as restricted. So, very common over here to have lots of different silencer companies.
Chris Killoy from Ruger was just saying, says, yes, we'd love to bring our silencers over here, but they're so common here that they're like low commodity, low price things.
Wow.
We can't really compete, whereas in the U.S., there's pretty good markup on them because it's, so hard to get them.
Man, as guns consumers, wouldn't we love that?
Oh, my gosh.
Just go in the store, pick up a silencer off a clamshell, and just buy it.
Yeah.
Done.
Why wouldn't you? It's a muffler.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, of course, we've got, we were talking about some of these companies that are bigger than you thought they were.
Oh, sure. Definitely big booths where you see them at SHOT Show, and it's a small presence, and now they're here, and this is their home turf.
Right.
It's their backyard.
Exactly right. So now, you go, oh, that's actually a bigger company than I thought it was.
Yeah, they're a monster company over here.
Right. Exactly right. So, and yet there are certain names that resonate everywhere, the Rugers, the Smith & Wessons, people know that. But then we see a revolver today that we'd not seen before, and you go, and they said, what is it? They've been making revolvers like since the 50s?
Yeah.
Never heard of these guys, but they're beautiful revolvers.
Making really nice stuff.
Making beautiful stuff.
Let me tell you.
So there are people making real high-end good guns that we either haven't heard of or only a few people have heard of in the U.S., and you're just not exposed to it. So we're getting whiplash. We walk around and you stop in the middle of an aisle and go, look at that.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's pretty sweet. A lot of optics, some optics that we may not have heard of before. You see a little bit of that here.
And different, a different way of shooting. Red dots for hunting are very popular over here.
Well, because take a lot of running shots.
That's the thing. The style of hunting, you're taking running shots, that generally... And it's quicker. You can shoot both eyes open.
Right.
All of those things work really well when you're talking about red dots. And it's funny, we have it there in the U.S., but we just don't use it that way.
Different
normally.
application, perhaps.
And what the funny part is, we sometimes we operate on what we've always done. This is what we're comfortable with.
Right.
And maybe you have a 3 to 9 power scope on your gun that you use for hunting hogs. Maybe you'd be better off with something that was low power or a red dot or something like that, but you don't even consider it.
Might want to rethink it. Just because that's the way your granddaddy did it doesn't mean that's the smart way to do it today.
Yeah.
We may have actually figured out a better way on some of this stuff.
Sometimes we improve things.
Yeah. How about that, We also see ammunition companies here that we have not heard of before. Ruag is, major, big company here. You see different types of projectiles and things. You're going, well, that's kind of cool.
And calibers. There are calibers in Europe that are very popular, that are not popular.
Yeah, been around forever, of course. I mean, we may have heard of them, but,
One of the things we were talking about today is the 6.5. This just 6.5 bullets in general, 6.5 calibers.
One of the Europeans was saying, the 6.5 Creedmoor, we all kind of looked at it and go, yeah.
It's like a 6.5 Sweet.
55, yeah.
And we've known about 6.5, how great it was for decades.
Yeah, for 100 years, and they're going, you guys just caught on. Look who just caught up.
That's right. Absolutely.
So it's kind of fun. We are the new kids on the block, but at the same time, we're doing a lot of development there, and you're seeing that here. One of the things I think people would be surprised at is how many American gun companies are exhibiting here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a ton of people. It's funny. I was saying, why do you go to the show? Well, we see a lot of the same people that we see at SHOT Show, but we're just further away.
Yeah, we do. Hold on to that thought. We'll be back in just a minute. This is Gun Talk.
I'm just as good as these guys. When will I get my chance to prove it?
Your chance is now. American Marksman is a nationwide series of target shooting competitions designed to give you your big break. Think you've got what it takes to go home with $50,000? Visit ammarksman.com to register today. That's ammarksman.com. American Marksman. Are you the one?
If you're looking for a safe and trusted way to sell your firearms, look no further than Dury's Gun Shop. I trusted them to sell my dad's collection. They built their business for over 50 years on honesty and customer service. Dury's Guns will buy any size collection or estate, none too big or too small. Selling your firearms to Dury's Guns is easy. Go with the pros. I trust Dury's Guns. DurysGuns.com.
Alien Gear Holsters, the most comfortable and concealable holsters on the planet, is offering big savings with our new 2-holster combo. Now you can buy 2 complete holsters for as little as $49.88. Choose from any available holster styles and colors for the guns of your choice. All of Alien Gear's quality products are made right here in the USA and include a 30-day trial, forever warranty, and free shell trades for life. Visit aliengearholsters.com today.
Hi, this is Joe. I bought a silencer from Silencer Shop, and it was a pretty amazing experience. I simply went to silencershop.com, followed the instructions, purchased my silencer, and they took care of the rest. My local firearm dealer called me when my silencer arrived. Did you know a silencer is an important accessory that offers an added hearing protection and greater shooting accuracy? It's great for hunters and those who want to enjoy more social interaction during shooting sports. Visit silencershop.com to find a silencer for your firearm.
Your guns are hungry, really hungry. They crave lead. They feast on recoil. They were born with a gluttonous appetite for speed and accuracy. Centerfire, rimfire, shotguns. They all need to eat. Let the feeding frenzy begin. Aguila Ammunition. Feed your firearm.
All right, we're back with you at the IWA Show here. We're at the Ruger booth having a bunch of fun here. There we go. And I guess we have a way of just Shanghaiing people.
Yes, you do.
So
In a good way.
We grabbed 2 good old Arkansas fellas here, and we said, what are you guys doing over here? So we got Adam Blaylock and we got Richard Turner, both from Umarex, from Fort Smith, Arkansas?
Yes. That's right.
Okay. What are you guys doing here?
Well, we're here at the IWA Show. We are every year. Our company's a little bit unique. We're German-owned, so the company Umarex and the company Walther you're familiar with
share
the same ownership.
Okay.
And we're basically their U.S. footprint. So I'm president and CEO of the U.S. company, and Richard's vice president of sales and marketing for Umarex USA.
Okay. Why Fort Smith?
Why Fort Smith? That's a long story, but basically when we started the business, the owner, Wolf Flommer, said, Adam, I want you to find the optimum location in the United States to run my business. And I said, we can do that. It'll be a long study, but for me to do it, I live in Fort Smith, and, but it's got a lot of great qualities.
Yeah.
We're low-cost labor, a good work ethic, good group of folks.
So what do you make there? What do you guys do there?
Richard, why don't you talk for a while?
Yeah, absolutely. It's primarily our U.S. distribution for North America.
Okay.
But we are looking at more and more opportunities to manufacture there.
All right.
So, with Umarex, we're a traditional air gun company. We compete really across multiple price points, and the world of air guns has grown so much, really based on the utility of them and the performance of them and what you can really do with them.
They're not your granddad's Daisy anymore.
It is not. It is not. It is definitely amped up. And and really, some of the velocity, some of the features that you achieve now has really allowed air guns to sort of have a whole different utility out there. So you're seeing a lot of folks hunt, a lot of people long distance shoot with them, and it's just fun. It's very inexpensive. Gives you a lot broader opportunities where you can shoot. Great practice.
Well, I was just going to say, one of the things that I've been telling people is that, look, you can get air guns that are as close as you can get to be exact copies of perhaps your carry gun.
Absolutely.
All right. So instead of dry firing with your carry gun, get your air gun out that fits your holster, works exactly the way it's supposed to, and start working that way. And you guys make products like that.
Absolutely.
Tom, that's great advice. I'm glad you're giving it because really the muscle memory, everything's the same with an air gun. Now, trigger pull's a little bit heavier for a CO2 action pistol.
Yeah.
But other than that, you can't always go to the range.
Exactly. And trigger time is trigger time.
Trigger time's trigger time, and you can be in your garage with a cardboard box stuffed with newspaper and having a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
And probably one of the best things about that, every time you pull that trigger, you're dealing with about 2.5 cents. and
I get your point. Yeah, that's a whole lot better than the ammo we're buying now.
Absolutely.
When you couldn't find 22 ammo, pellets were still readily available.
Right. Exactly. So, I mean, we're sitting here in the Ruger booth, and there's a connection there, too, right?
Absolutely. We're excited and have been. Ruger's been such a great partner. We license Ruger and develop Ruger air rifles and Ruger air pistols. And it's been a tremendous partnership for us. There's so much brand equity out there and so much a fan base for Ruger products. And it's been exciting for us. And some of our absolute most successful products have been Ruger branded, Ruger inspired.
You know, and I mean, for those who haven't, if people have not actually handled one of the modern air guns, I always tell them, you just got to go get your hands on it. I can't tell you about it. You can't read about it. You got to get your hands on it. When you pick it up, you'll get it, right?
If you haven't been around it, you've got a mindset for air gun, and you are thinking Red Ryder, which is a great way to start. And
right.
I have some history with Daisy. They helped put my kids through college. I sold Red Ryders, but like a Ruger Airhawk, for example, is 1,000 feet per second, screaming, with a 177 caliber pellet, nice wood stock and balance. You can varmint hunt with that, and it's really a different ball game. It's not a BB gun.
The point is, you can actually hunt with these guns.
Absolutely. Even right now, one of the upcoming trends you're seeing, there's 4 states right now that already have a deer hunting season. Now, absolutely. That's done with a PCP, an HPA, a high-pressure air gun.
Right, you feel it from like a scuba tank.
Absolutely. And so, it'll depend on the state, but you've got 45, 50 caliber air guns, and really what you're doing is you're enabling someone, and especially there's certain populations or certain folks, then it's tough to get up and shoot a crossbow or shoot a vertical bow out there. Mm-hmm. And some of these seasons then coincide with archery, really let a hunter get an opportunity early on. You've got great range. And one thing we always are hear constantly, and we still do it through our 10 years of the company, is, oh, my gosh, I didn't know these are what air guns were.
Right.
And we hear it all, and I love it because when someone does and recognize it, their eyes are open. And we've really seen this emergence of big-bore air rifles and hunting, which is just another step of the category evolving.
And I know there are people who say, well, I kind of maybe have heard of Umarex. They're a new company. And I'm thinking, well, you guys really don't know the history here, right?
Right.
Been around a while.
Right, and the license is a big part of what we do, and if you don't know Umarex, certainly you know Ruger. And so with that trusted name and an entry into air rifle or a CO2 pistol that's a Ruger replica, it's a lot of fun.
Well, frankly, just to put a fine point on it, Ruger wouldn't have agreed to do a deal with you guys if they didn't think you were doing a really good job, because that's what Ruger's all about.
I would say it's fair enough, and actually it's interesting. It was at this show in IWA 10 years ago that I made the walk with Mike and Chris, and we talked about the air gun world and talked about partnering. But I can tell you with Ruger, too, it's not hands-off. So it's not like that day they decided to partner with us and it was over. We worked together on packaging. We worked together on new products. We worked together on everything we're doing. And, of course, they want to shoot these air rifles. Their employees do.
Because they're fun.
Yeah, and they're critical folks, which is good for us. I mean, they want the product done right.
And circling back to where, I think a ton of people are doing concealed carry. Frankly, nobody gets as much practice as we want or should be getting. And just the drill of slowly drawing, clearing, getting out, getting on target, pressing that trigger, getting the shot, and then putting the gun back in the holster the proper way, slowly and deliberately, with a gun that is an exact copy of what you're carrying. There's just nothing better than that.
That's absolutely right. Absolutely.
Well, thank you, guys. How people get to know more about what you're doing? Website?
Yep, UmarexUSA.com.
It's UMAREX, Umarex.
Correct.
Okay, Umarex.com?
Umarex USA.
All right, UmarexUSA.com. Thank you, guys.
That's right.
Thanks so much for stopping by.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.
And we're back here. I'm Tom Gresham. I'm at the IWA Show in Nuremberg, Germany. We're in the Ruger booth having a bunch of fun over here. And, of course, people are walking by. Some of them we know. Some of them we have no idea not only who they are, but we don't even know what they're saying because we're kind of language challenged in the U.S. A lot of the folks around here speak a lot of different languages. But interestingly enough, a lot of the people here are paying attention to what's going on in the U.S. with our election. At this point, it's time for Jim to cue up the circus music because a lot of what's going on with our election is, in fact, a bit of a circus. Holy cow. I mean, what's going on with these guys? I mean, seriously, are they talking about hands and other weird stuff? I look at this and wonder, how do other people see us? And then I talk to them over here, and they're going, basically, have you guys lost your minds? What are you doing? Yeah, I know. And I get it. I understand the frustration. I understand the Donald Trump enthusiasm because basically he's not them. I mean, it's a heck of a thing, but that ought to be his tagline. I'm not them. And I get it. That's pretty attractive. At the same time, he's not. And dare I say it, I don't trust the guy. I don't trust him to support us. I don't trust him to support the gun rights. I don't trust him in any form or fashion. And people go, oh, Tom, you're just not getting it. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. I don't know. But I'm just telling you, when I look at him, I see New York, I see East Coast, I see a past gun banner, I see a guy who proudly proclaims, he says, I could be anything I want to be. I can change to be anything. Go, yeah, I believe that, and I believe that probably will happen again. On the other hand, what do they call it, the lesser of two evils? In this case, that may be what we're looking at. And sometimes we've said in the past, well, you got to hold your nose and pull the lever. A lot of people are not going to be willing to do that this time. At a certain point, you go, I get it, I understand it, I know what you're saying, but I'm not going to go there. And I'm hearing that more and more. People say, I had a lady come up to me and she says, she definitely strongly Republican, strongly conservative, strongly gun advocate. She says, there's no way in the world I will ever vote for him. She says, I won't vote for Hillary, but I'm just not going to vote. She says, it would be the first time I ever didn't vote, but I will not vote for Trump. And I think that's the way a lot of people are. So the question then becomes, yeah, okay, if his biggest achievement is he's not been there before and he's not the Republicans, he's not a career politician, but if the baggage that comes with that is, yeah, and you also cannot beat Hillary Clinton, is there any value to that? And believe me, I have long gotten past the whole deal of, we have to send them a message. What was the old line? If you want to send somebody a message, call Western Union. In this case, if you nominate somebody who cannot win, the message that you're sending is we don't want to win. We don't care about winning. And for years I've told people, they said, but we're right. I said, yeah, and it doesn't matter. And it really ticks them off. I said, yeah, yes, we're right. And you don't understand. Being right is immaterial in this. Well, what do you mean? But we're right. Yes, you are, and you lost. So you could be right and lose, or you know what? You could be right and win. What you got to do is pick somebody who is as close as you can get, who still has a chance of winning. I don't know where this thing's going to go. I don't have any idea, but it's been very interesting to kind of get some feedback from our European friends over here who are looking at this and scratching their heads and shaking their heads and going, wow, it's beyond silly season. It's crazy time. The circus is in town. I don't know what's going to come of this. I'm not a political prognosticator, but I'm just telling you, I am concerned. I'm more than that. I'm worried about this whole thing. Don't trust Trump, not crazy about some of our other choices. And you just want to say, is that the best you guys can do? Well, maybe it is. Maybe it's what we've got, but there we go. But beyond everything else, you still got to get involved. You got to get committed. So whoever it is, we're going to have to get behind, and that's kind of where we are. I'll tell you what, thank you so much. We'll be back in a minute with more from the IWA Show in Nuremberg, Germany.